Hello and welcome back to Cage Fighting. It's your main man Andy Gillard here. Hope everyone is keeping well in the world. Last week we discussed the first 5 films on a list that I like to call 21st Century Horror in 10 Films. So please make sure you caught up on last week's before jumping into this week's where we finish off our conversation. I am joined with Stu and Tara this week to finish off that chat, and let's get straight back to it. The next topic I've got that I think we sort of got quite a lot of, and we probably had this more so back in the 70s and early 80s. I've got 2 films for the next topic, which is the socio-political horror, which sort of gave rise to. The first one that I've got I want to talk about is Get Out, Jordan Peterson's film.
Jordan Peele, not Jordan Peterson.
Jordan
That'd be a different film.
That would be a very different film with... Yeah, the white people would have been the heroes in that film, almost certainly.
Well, there might be the heroes in Get Out, if it depends how you feel.
Yeah, I suppose. I feel like we've had a few filmmakers over the 21st century who've taken on quite a stance on the treatment towards black people within, especially as an allegory for American society.
Yeah.
And I think Get Out is probably the premier film for that one, personally speaking. Tara, thoughts on Get Out as a film? And Peele, do you like Jordan Peele as a director?
I love him. I love Key and Peele, first off.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Nope. I wasn't a big fan of Nope, I have to say. My husband liked Nope, I wasn't. I don't know.
I liked it. I thought it was really good, actually.
I really liked Us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which he kind of didn't get on with that either. But no, Get Out was fantastic. And to see, Daniel Kaluuya, who played
Tea Leaf.
Tea Leaf and Parking Pataweo in the Harry Enfield show. He was a parking warden. To make it big like he has, it's wonderful to see. And it's a great film because they properly have you in it, don't you? They're like, oh, the girlfriend, and then it just all turns to shit. And no, it's good and it's funny as well because Jordan Peterson is Jordan Peterson. You've got me doing it now.
I know. You've caught you out.
Well, Jordan Peterson is a funny in the head man. Jordan Peele is a funny man, so he can do horror, but he can add in chunks of comedy as well. Like I like the bit in Nope where it's Gordy the chimp goes on a rampage. That's hilarious. That's really, really funny. But for me, obviously it ties the film together, but it just didn't work for me. Whereas Get Out because it was his directorial debut as well, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It was, yeah.
What a performance! What a film to put out there. And Rose's dad is played by Bradley Whitford, who is one of the guys in the Cabin in the Woods.
Yes, I love Bradley Whitford.
Me too.
I think he's just tremendous.
Yeah,
he's a really good comedic actor as well. And I think you can see that in Get Out, even though obviously he's not a comedy character. He does have some really good one-liners.
I'd have voted Obama in for another term if I could.
Yeah, the delivery is so perfect. He's a tremendous actor. Yeah. He's really good. Stu, I think Get Out was the first film I remember really badgering you about watching.
Yeah. That was exactly what I was going to say. It was the first one I actually listened to because you wouldn't shut up. Yeah, I'm glad you did because, again, just echo exactly what's been said. And I obviously went going in not knowing what to expect because that's what you said. And that's probably the best way to talk about it, in just that it's superb in everything that it does.
Yeah.
And however much you know that, knowing that you can't be told what it's about, you're not sitting there thinking, oh, well, what is this going to be? And then it doesn't matter because it goes so many different ways anyway that it's genius. And I didn't really like Us as much. Nope, yes, very much so. But there's another triple-headed film we'll come on to in the next section anyway about this. But as a debut, is it as good a debut as the the excellent Korean film that we watched the other week, Andy? Not horror, obviously, but
Past Lives.
it's on a par.
In a in a
very
different
way.
way.
Yeah,
In a different way, it's as good. I think they're both masterpieces in their own right, but in very, very different. I mean, just to talk about Past Lives for just a moment. I watched. I was I know. I was reading a book earlier on, and it had the picture of the main character and her friend when they're sat in front of the carousel in Brooklyn, and I thought that entire picture tells you the whole film pretty much. And it's just an image, but it is so perfectly set. It's so well done. The director, I really should learn her name, but she's an absolute genius because that film is fucking stunning. I cannot praise that film enough, and I do think it's as good as what Peele achieved with Get Out. I feel like the conversation surrounding specifically Black America, it obviously drives two very different sets of people in very different paths, but Get Out felt like it was walking the path in the middle, making relevant points without actually trying to piss off or pander to people too much.
Yeah,
I felt like he got it perfect on this film, which, as you say, for a debut, is just unheard of almost.
Did you watch his Twilight Zone series?
I watched the first one.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I think I didn't know when the second one was being released, and I missed it, and I just haven't had a chance to catch it.
No, the ones we've caught have been really good. And also, they made a film. They were in a film called Keanu, which is fucking brilliant. Have you seen it?
Love it.
Yeah,
It's tremendous.
It's great. It's really good.
I was a big fan of Key and Peele well before he became this superstar director. I just love their skits, and one of my favourite ones. I mean, when they did there was a zombie outbreak, and the zombies wouldn't attack black people, so all the black people were just congregating and having barbecues and stuff because the white zombies wouldn't touch them. And you can kind of see that he has taken that on into his filmmaking.
Yeah.
But he's just brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think anyone understands America quite like Peele does. I think he's the voice of this generation. And I think when you then watch something like Candyman, which I know is Nia DeLong, was the writer director, but I know he was producer and he did a pass on the script as well. You can hear his influence on that script as well.
Yeah.
I think the first one I saw of their sketch was the NFL one. I thought, this is so perfect.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And again, like you just say, about getting Black America and America in general, that nails it. If anyone else did that, if Ricky Gervais did that, just to bring up his lordship.
His lordship, really? He's blocked me on Twitter. He's a prick.
Of course he has. Got to abuse him every day and expect to be worshipped. But it is right, though. I mean, they got away with it for the obvious reason, but it's so spot on. It's genius. And so is Get Out, and it works.
Yeah.
The next film that I wanted to talk about for socio-political horror, moving on from race, the other card that to be discussed, I think, is class. And I think American Psycho might be the perfect film when discussing it, especially because obviously it's set in the 1980s, which was very much where class warfare felt like it really started, or at least in my mind somewhat. That's where the gulf began because of Reaganomics and Thatcher and all that stuff, which is very much baked into that movie. So American Psycho, Tara, what do you think of the film?
I read the book first, and when I heard they were making a film, I didn't see how they could possibly do it because the book is horrific, and there are so many bits in that book that have made me cross my legs quite a few times, quite hard. And then there was talk of getting Leonardo DiCaprio to play Patrick Bateman, and I was like, that's not going to fucking work. But I went to see the pictures, and it's note perfect. Mary Harron and Guinevere Turner, I think they've done a fantastic job on it. Mary Harron directed it, and for a woman to direct a film as anti-women as that, hats off.
I think, if I remember rightly, DiCaprio had been cast, but Bale refused to give up the role.
Oh,
He
okay.
kept hounding them until they gave him the role, because he knew he was Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
He knew he was perfect for that
Yeah.
role.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could see anybody else as
I don't
Bateman.
think I could. No, I don't think I could. I think there's talk of a remake, and I can't remember who they've said. Huh?
Just
Yeah.
why? There's no point.
I know, but no,
Yeah.
it's a brilliant piece of cinema. It's one
Yeah,
of those ones. If it's ever on the telly, it's like Goodfellas with me. If it's ever on the telly, even though we own it on DVD or Blu-ray, I've got to watch it. So if you come into it and it's on, that's it. That's me for the rest of the night watching that film.
I mean, whenever a certain song comes on, I kind of get the urge to kiss my bicep now every time. And I was just looking around to see if I had a coat hanger present, but they're all upstairs, and they're not wire, so it doesn't matter. But it's a in a weird way. It was, if that came out now, there'd be, I know there is anyway, but it'd be a meme factory. The whole film, it's brilliant, but it's also terrifying, and but again, we're not kind of qualified to talk about it, are we? Because we were too young to experience that stuff. But from people who were there, especially people who were there in New York at that time, fellow jet sufferers who I've spoke to through that ridiculous franchise, that they said that he nailed it, and that's exactly what it was like. Not feeding cats to ATM machines, admittedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no, other than Trading Places, you ain't going to get anywhere that shows a divide as much as that film.
Oh, no, Wall Street. Wall Street as well. But yeah, no, Christian Bale is. I couldn't ever see anyone else playing Patrick Bateman, because he just is him.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what it is about him, but obviously he's Welsh. I mean, he's Cockney via Wales, I believe. I think he's, that's his makeup. But he feels more American than anyone has ever felt.
Yeah.
In that movie, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I do. I love that film. I love Chloe Sevigny. I think is such an interesting actor. Doesn't get the role she deserves.
No.
But I think that makes her more interesting as well, because we only ever see her in bit parts and indie movies, and she's such an interesting actor because of it. But unfortunately, we do have to suffer the Jared Leto of it all. Even though he's not awful in this movie, in fairness, he's one of the more tolerable Jared Leto performances. Is there anything else that
I was going to say? I saw a T-shirt the other day that you could get. You can get a Dorsier T-shirt, and it's got the address of Dorsier on it as well. You know, the restaurant where he tries to get reservations with Paul. So I think it was on Last Exit to Nowhere, so I might have to pick that up. My T-shirt today is Last Exit to Nowhere, Midsummer one.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
What a link.
Yeah. That nearly made the list when we get to one of the later topics, but I think we will mention that as well, because that is a fantastic horror movie that's 21st century. Is there anything else socio-politically over the past 20 plus years that you think deserves a mention, be it class, be it race, gender equality, anything that springs to mind in particular?
I'm trying to think.
This was the one category I was completely blank on, and I know full well, as soon as this goes out, you're going to get bombarded.
Yeah.
Not to worry, we can always come back to it if you think of something.
Yeah.
The next film is actually a franchise of films. It's the Final Destination films. So we've currently had 5 films which span from 2000 to 2011, and there is allegedly another one in the works currently. The reason I brought this one in is because there is no identifiable villain. And I don't think we've had an identifiable villain in the 21st century that's lasted to any great deal, other than, like, I mean, I know you've got Scream, but that started in the 90s. We've had quite a few who've come for maybe 1 or 2 films. The only one probably is John Kramer from Saw.
I was going to say, when Stu sent me the message over, there was no identifiable bad guy, and I was like, Jigsaw's right fucking there, man.
Yeah.
He died in the 3rd film.
He's still there.
Like, he hasn't really been around.
He's in the
a
new
lot
one.
of the film is he's his legacy
Yeah,
almost.
true.
And let's be honest, Billy is more identifiable than John Kramer when it comes to
Absolutely.
Saw.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we've had a Kruger or a Mike Myers or anyone like that in the 21st century. And I really can't put my finger on why we're lacking that leading man, leading lady of death. I don't get it. Any thoughts on why we've got this void? It's like we said at the start of this list of films that we were going to be talking about when we spoke about zombies, and I feel like zombies sort of took over
Yeah.
a nameless, faceless, unidentifiable blur of things. And I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
if that's why.
Maybe it's because we don't. There's enough horror, like real life horror, that we don't really need a boogeyman anymore.
Hmm.
You know. And that was like 70s and 80s. You couldn't. There's Pinhead, who tends to get left off lists.
He's never seen that film.
Have you not? I went to see it
No.
at Birmingham New Street. They did a double bill about a couple of months ago with my next door neighbour. The sound was terrible, but it's just a great film. So you should give it a chance. There's some shitty special effects right near the end, absolute dog shit. But and David had watched it at the time, and he said, "Yeah, I thought they were shit back then in 1987." I don't know. Maybe we don't need one anymore because the world's a bad enough place.
I think it's just, again, I'll bring it back to the other category of, you look at the 90s and what did you have? Sonic, Mario. You don't have that now. It's almost like people needed mascots and people
Yeah.
needed like an icon or a brand, whereas Saw is the brand
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Final Destination is the theme of Final Destination. It's like it almost doesn't need it.
Even Hostel to an extent. Hostel is the brand. You know what you're getting
Yeah,
when you go into those films. So you
and like
don't need a bad guy.
the Purge. The
Mm,
Purge is the Purge itself is the bad guy. That
Hmm.
noise is the bad guy.
mm,
He doesn't need a man in a tower
no.
or an evil genius stroking his beard. Even the Bond films went away from that. So, to a certain extent, but it just seems that mascots or the big bad have just gone.
Mm.
It is. You can see it coming back because everything's all cyclical, and we
Actually, do you know what? I've mentioned him earlier before, and he's staring me in the fucking face. Art the Clown from Terrifier. He's a bona
Yeah.
fide big bad. People are cosplaying as him now. When I was in Budapest last week, I saw a girl and she had an Art the Clown tattoo on her leg. So he's making an impact, even if his films are misogynistic dog shit. Yeah, he's Art the Clown.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. When Terrifier 2 came out, he did seem to be fucking everywhere, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
I know we're only 2 films in with him, and obviously things can go sideways, but I think that possibly is the next
Well,
one.
they're doing the
But
third one now, so
you'd think studios would want an identifiable character that they can make dolls of and
yeah,
sell to idiots like me who buy everything with all my,
same.
Funko Pops behind me currently. And yeah, Tara with England stuff on display currently. But you'd think like studios would want someone like that. They'd want another Ghostface killer to,
Mm.
sell Halloween costumes of, but they're still running the same old when it
Well,
comes
that's
to it all.
New Line Cinema is built on the blood of Freddy Krueger's victims because it was its last chance. New Line Cinema, and then Nightmare on Elm
Mm,
Street came out, and that saved the cinema. That saved the company. So
mm.
it's thank Freddy for New Line Cinema still being around today.
yeah. So thank Freddie for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Thank God. We don't. I know we didn't mention it earlier. Doesn't really fit in, but even Stranger Things, with how huge it is, we were talking about the streaming stuff earlier.
Mm.
That hasn't until the last season really had the big bad or someone recognizable as the big bad. But you still don't see him on bags, or you still don't see him on tattoos.
No, that's true.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not
Anyway.
yet, no.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. So, Final Destination as a franchise, you did say earlier that you thought that you'd have one good, one bad. It was a bit of the Star Trek way of making films: one good one bad one.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, with this series, I actually thought this was quite an inventive way of setting it up, where Fate was the bad guy in it. I thought it was a really interesting idea. Back in 2000, it felt very original and very unique.
Mm.
How do you think it fared across the 5 films?
There's a massive, ginormous plot hole in Final Destination 3, which if you go back and watch it, you will see it. It's like, well, none of this would ever have happened because of X. But they've got. I'm going to sound like the two lads from the League of Gentlemen. How many killings? There's loads of really inventive kills, like the nail gun to the back of the head and the sunbeds and stuff. It's kind of just more of the same, though, really.
Yeah. It's just more and more inventive ways of doing it, like what the Saw films are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if that's if the new one, if it happens, if the new one has new things that we've never seen before, then great. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
But if not, then everyone's just going to be disappointed, and it's just a waste again.
Yeah.
So
it'll almost certainly be a trilogy, because that's what they always do, regardless of actual quality of film, isn't it? Well, I feel like the way the 5th one ended, with it tying very much into the first film, like it came full circle. Why do we really need to revisit these things? I mean, this is a slight tangent, but we have had a number of remakes and stuff across the 21st century of films that are not that old, both horror and non-horror. Do we need to keep seeing remakes of things? I mean, will we get a Nightmare remake, do you think, Tara?
We've had one. It was shit.
Have we really?
Yeah.
Oh shit, we had
Jackie Earle Haley.
Yes, we did. I'd completely scrubbed that from my memory. That's how bad
I
it was.
wish I fucking had. I went to the pictures with my friend Tom to see it. David wasn't that bothered, and Tom and me came out and met David at the pub, and it was like, what was it like? And I was doing to myself what David did when he went to see the first of the new Star Wars films. Talking as though you're trying to convince yourself that you liked it. And I was doing that, going, yeah, I liked it, but there was a question at the end of my voice. So, and then in subsequent times, I have watched it. I haven't bought it. I've watched it on telly, and then David watched it with me. He was like, that was fucking dreadful. It's like, yeah, it was, wasn't it? And it's a shame, because Jackie Earle Haley gets a lot of shit for it. He was really good. He was great in it. It's just, it was a terrible plot, and his makeup, I guess because there's so many purists like myself, his makeup looked more like a Burns victim, but it wasn't what we wanted. We wanted our Freddy, and we didn't get him. And so there was a remake. I'd say there's probably going to be more talk of another remake. Funnily enough, we've mentioned him earlier tonight. Robert Englund's preferred actor to play Freddy is Kevin Bacon, which I can totally see.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting choice, actually. I could see that. Stu, is there anything you would want to see given an update in the 21st century? Is there anything, like, I don't know, what do you think, maybe a restarting Halloween? Would that be sacrilegious?
I've just done it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, did they? Or was it just bullshit that's going to be instantly fucking retconned because it was wank?
I haven't watched the last one yet.
No, I haven't watched the last one either.
Couldn't stomach it.
No. But that was the thing. The first new one was all right. I enjoyed the first new one.
I did.
And Andy's doing his little wink there. I was going to say yet again. I was going to say for the audio listeners, but everyone's an audio listener, and you're never getting this on video. There's reasons. It was a fan cast for that. I don't know. Maybe stuff like things that haven't aged at all well. like Hellraiser that is a bit ridiculous and
That's
shit.
been remade.
Yeah, again,
And I
badly.
didn't. Yeah, it was boring. We switched it
Yeah,
off.
yeah. Like there's ideas there of things that you can't, with a modern eye, you can't watch for the first time and take seriously anymore.
Hmm.
In that case, if it can be done properly, I'm not against it.
Mm.
But it's doing it properly that's the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
And the only one that has, has done it recently, it was the 80s, but The Fly. you,
Yeah.
you couldn't do The Fly now.
No.
It wouldn't work because it was all about the practical.
Yeah.
But and it still looks pretty horrendous as well, in a good way.
Mm.
So you couldn't do that or Fly 2 with Eric Stoltz, which is good for the end scene alone.
Yes, it is great for that.
But yeah, nothing in particular, just things that I know I'm not going to watch because it's just I'm out of time with it now. It's too late.
Right. I get you. Okay. So moving on then to the next topic that I've got is A24 takes over, and the film that I picked to demonstrate this was X. But with all honesty, it could quite easily have been Hereditary. It could have been Midsummer. It could have been Pearl. It could have been Bowie's Afraid. Like A24, like the title of A24 takes over for a reason is because A24 has taken over. I think you look at someone like Jason Blum of Blumhouse.
Mm.
They're very fine films. They're all good, but they're all generic horror movies. But
Yeah.
for the most, that's not a slander against them. I have enjoyed most of those movies, to be perfectly honest. But they're all very identifiable as well. Megan is quite clearly Child's Play, and you've got those parallels. Whereas you look at someone like A24, who give creatives license to make their vision, and like obviously they keep them within a set parameter, unlike Netflix, who just let people do whatever the fuck they want and serve up a pile of shit. A24 don't seem to miss very often, and I think since probably 2013-14 they have been outstanding at providing us with just quality cinema, both horror and non-horror. No one's got their strike rate, from in my opinion. And also, they were one of the first people to agree to the WGA's what they wanted for the writers.
Oh, no, wasn't it?
Okay.
They didn't have to because they were working in that anyway. They were. I think it was.
Is that right? So they were already on.
They were already doing it. So
they're very much there for the creatives. They love their. And I just think A24 like I shouldn't be repping a fucking company. That feels very capitalistic, and I don't like it. But at the same time, A24 are just outstanding.
Have you seen Talk to Me?
Yes, and it's one of the best films I've seen this year.
Yeah.
We were bemoaning about how shit horror's been in 2023 for the first 6 months.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we got The Boogeyman and we got Talk to Me, which came out within the space of a couple of weeks of each other. And they were just incredible.
Yeah.
But Talk to Me, and I don't really, we spoke about, I don't really care for franchise films, but I feel like Talk to Me is possibly going to start down that road.
It's getting
a
prequel.
Sequel to that. Well,
prequel, yeah.
So and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I really want more. I want to know more about it.
But there we go. That's an A24.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is it about A24 which has really helped them take over?
I think they just respect the creators' views and ideas, and I think they're kind of that. If you want to make it. Here's some cash. Just don't,
Yeah.
I think they invest in. They take on board really interesting stories. So like I love The Witch. I love The Witch so much so I've got Black Phillip tattooed on my thigh. But I know that that's not for everyone. But it was for me. I know a lot of people who tried watching it and they couldn't get couldn't get through it. Hereditary is a great film. Just that one scene alone.
I was on the A24 website last night looking through the merchandise, and you can buy a jigsaw of that one scene.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I was so tempted.
Early Christmas present. And then of course Midsummer, which I adored. I saw it twice in 1 week I went once with David and once with my friend Chrissy. and I've literally seen the film, bought the T-shirt. It's fantastic. Such a good. They're just interesting ideas. I still haven't seen Beau is Afraid yet.
Oh wow!
I loved it, but I also realise it's the most self-indulgent film I have seen in a long time. But I loved it because of it. By the way, you can buy an incense burner and for Midsummer, the tent at the end,
Fantastic.
which is genius.
Yeah.
But so I've got the list of films up of A24.
Yeah.
So their first film was February 2013, A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swan III by Roman Coppola. Then we had Ginger and Rosa, Spring Breakers, The Bling Ring, The Spectacular Now. So really the first 5 films didn't really make much of an impact. I mean, Spring Breakers did, but not in a positive way. And then we got Enemy, Under the Sun, Locke, Obvious Child. So we're looking at
Locke is a great film. Have you seen
tremendous.
Locke? Yeah.
Stephen Knight. I didn't realise it's Stephen Knight actually, but just incredible. So 2014, all of a sudden, they've gone from making very unspectacular movies to making films that people are paying attention to. Tusk, I mean, that's a film that's very divisive.
I love Tusk.
I love it because I love Stephen Smith, Kevin Smith. So, like, again, as you said, it's not a film for everybody, but those who like it will really, really like it. And I feel that that's what A24, that's their audience, is if you like this, you'll fucking love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stu, thoughts on A24 movies?
I'm just looking down the list as well now because I was thinking, is the Lighthouse one of them? And I don't think it is he?
I don't think that was.
It's the same vibe.
Oh, it is. It is. Sorry, yeah.
Oh,
Robert Eggers, yeah, The Lighthouse.
Yeah. No, I was just even that Oasis documentary, A24.
Yeah.
Just some of the
the Amy Winehouse one was Asif Kapadia's second film that was A24, and Asif Kapadia, obviously, tremendous documentarian.
Killing of a Sacred Deer, fucking amazing film.
That's a great film.
We've never talked about it on here, I don't think.
No. Brilliant. My first glimpse of Barry Keoghan, that film.
He's in some weird, mad stuff.
Saltburn. Yeah, he's in
Saltburn,
which I really want to see.
But even things like, where's it gone now? What we talked about, Everything Everywhere All at Once is A24 as well. Of course it is.
I didn't get on with that. We switched it off.
Oh, that's why then.
Love it.
No, it was doing my head in.
We need to power through. I know exactly what you mean. It is very much up its own arse.
Yeah.
But you need to power through to the end because it's wonderful.
I mean, to be honest, I did power through the Greasy Strangler, so.
But then again, the Green Knight is on here, and that's awful.
Was it? I wanted to watch that.
It's so good.
No, it's not.
Brilliant.
Dev Patel,
I mean, it's Dev Patel. It's going to be good, and it is. And Ralph Ineson is in it as well.
Him from The Witch.
Really good. Yeah.
Finchy from The Office.
Finchy, yeah.
Who's in? Amazingly, he's in The Creator.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very odd situation.
I think he's friends with Gareth Edwards. Is it Edwards?
Yeah,
It's Edwards, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but him with that voice doing an American accent is just very peculiar.
It's funny, isn't it?
Again, another one that we talked about at the time, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
I really enjoyed it. I love Rachel Sennott, though. It's brilliant. And it's got my favourite joke about podcasters that doesn't... it's not insulting podcasters, but it's insulting enough, I think, is the thing to it. But like you said, all of those films, they're very much... If you like them, you will really, really like them. And I really like pretty much everything they've done because everything is unique and it is original. And even if it's not a great film, it seems to have a great seed of an idea to it. And I think that's so much more interesting than the studios, Marvel and DC and, everyone pumping out pretty much the same genre of film time and again. And A24 should just be applauded for being a little bit different to the rest.
Absolutely, yeah. We need more. We don't, I don't want cookie cutter horror films. I want different, out there things.
Ex Machina as well.
Ex Machina is such a great film.
Their big Christmas release on December 22nd is The Iron Claw, the story of the Von Erich wrestling family, which is the most depressing story you will
Absolutely.
ever see. And it's the 22nd of December, and I couldn't be more excited about watching it. But that should not be out 3 days before Christmas. It's insane. But I'm so excited because who else is going to make a film about the Texas tornado? Like, it's just not going to happen. So I love it. And of course, we've got a Nick Cage film coming out soon, Dream Scenario. A schlubby professor becomes an overnight celebrity after appearing in everyone's dream. Like, it's just kind of insane. Christopher Borgley is the director. Like, I don't think they've even got an IMDb page. That's how little this person is known. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
I genuinely couldn't speak highly enough about A24.
No,
I'd love to do a series of just watching all of their films.
Yeah, they're a really exciting production company.
And it feels bizarre that they've only been around for 10 years. Because they feel part of the furniture now. Like, they've been around that long, and they've given us so much good. And Oscar winners, like The Whale was was one of theirs. Of brilliant. Anything else from A24 that you would think's worthy of mention? Anything that springs to mind? I know we mentioned quite a few. By the way.
There's one that's got Noomi Rapace in. Is it Lamb? I think I haven't watched it yet. I haven't.
Weird
watched
as
it. Got it. Yeah, but yeah.
And it's one you'll either really hate it or you'll really love it. Like prime A24, to be fair.
I mean, Bowie's Afraid. I mean, within the space of 3 days, we constantly talking about it. Obviously, Matt was never going to watch it anyway. But it was like, so after coming out of it, I said, I don't know what to say. I've got nothing to say about this and everything to say at the same time. Because it's so fucked up and odd that I kind of wish that it was around when I was at uni, because you could just put a whole dissertation about that one film alone. But now with a bit of distance to it, it's genius. It's genius.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll have to seek it out.
I mean, I've said before, there are some films that make me want to write an essay on it, and Bowie's Afraid did that. Bodies did that. Yeah, A24 make me want to write about films. I just think they're such an interesting thing. So the one film the film that I highlighted was X, the Ty West film starring Mia Goth. Which one, X or Pearl, Stu? Which one would you go with out of those two? Which one did you prefer of the two?
X.
Yeah. Tara, are you in agreement? Is it a clean sweep? Because I agree with Stu. I think X is slightly better. I think Pearl was great, but X was.
I don't know. I'm going to go for Pearl because of her performance, especially that last closing scene.
Yeah, the credits scene.
Apparently, somebody told me that the director told her to do that, and she didn't know she had to do it, and so she was fuming after. It's like, yeah, just keep it, just keep going.
I think mainly as well because it was so unexpected. With X, because it was one of them. I think Judah told me about that first of all, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it's one of them. It's like going from an 8 to a 9. Which one do you go?
Yeah.
So just X.
I'm very much enjoying Mia Goth becoming a screen queen though, because she was in Infinity Pool as well, and that was fantastic.
I haven't got round to that one.
That was really good.
Cronenberg's lad, isn't it?
Yeah, Brandon.
Brandon. Yeah, that's the one.
Have you seen? Have you seen Antiviral by him? Brandon Cronenberg.
Don't think I have.
That's really.
I think I've only seen one, and it's Possessor. I think I enjoyed Possessor. I do like her though. I think Mandy. What's her name?
Oh, Andrea Riseborough.
I think she's very, very good in everything. I just couldn't think of her name.
Look up Antiviral. It's really, really interesting. Really interesting premise.
Okay. Super. Right. Yeah, that's making the list as well. Right. So the last of the 10 films of the 21st century of horror is also another franchise, sort of. This comes under the heading of requels and continuation of never-ending franchises, and it's Scream. So we had Scream 1 and 2 came out in, I think it was 96 and 98, if I remember rightly. And then 3 was 2000, 4 was 11, and then 5, 6, and we'll be getting 7 next year over the last few. The requel has become something of a cause, not even really a cause celeb, because they've mostly been shit, to be perfectly honest. This is just recycling IP, isn't it? We've got nothing else to say, so let's just bring back the old stuff. Has the new Scream? Let's start with the most recent ones at least. Has the new Scream, so 5, 6 so far, have they been worth the time and effort?
I went to a double bill screening of 5 and 6 because I'm not the biggest fan of the Scream franchise, if I'm being honest. So I went double bill 5 and 6 with my next door neighbour and some of his friends. So I hadn't seen 5. I was sitting next to a girl, and she'd seen it, and so when it comes out who the killer is, and they deny it, and it's like, it's fucking you prick, and I was like, really. So she spoiled the whole film for me. So, and then
That's awful.
for the Scream 6, I moved because I didn't want to be sat by her. I don't know. They're just. I've revisited Scream since, and I get it now. I didn't get it at the time. I get it now. I get how clever it is, and it's always good to see the Fonz and stuff. I don't think they need to rehash it. I don't, but they're just going to do it because it's flogging a dead horse. If Robert Englund said, "I'll play Freddy again," I'll be there. And it will be, he's 76 now, but I'll be there. They know they've got their key audience, and they've just never really done it for me. The Scream films.
Stu, what's your thoughts been on the 2 most recent ones so far?
I was very worried going to 5 because I enjoyed them, and the incredibly underrated MTV series as well, which was actually really good. But again, because it was on MTV and it had that nonsense pop-up thing.
Yeah.
They're still doing it like it's VH1 back in 2002, where he comes up and he tells you what the song that's playing.
Pop-up video.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like a pop-up video. But there was no other way of getting it because it was an MTV thing. So even if you don't get it through other means, it still had this stuff on it, so it ruined it all. But that kind of faded towards whenever there was something going on. It was like more when they were in calves and stuff. But anyway, and then we had Screen Queens as well, which was that Emma?
Yeah, Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts. Yeah, that was
Emma Roberts and Leah Michelle. So obviously I was going to enjoy it, and I loved there was the one character, the deaf girl, who was a big fan of Taylor Swift, and I don't know why, but that was the funniest joke I ever heard at the time, and I don't know why, but I just loved it. It was brilliant.
It has been enjoyable tonight watching the NFL and not seeing thankfully not hearing Taylor Swift being mentioned again for the 4th week in a row because it's getting a bit out of hand. But a bit getting out of hand, like Scream, because I liked 5. I was very surprised by it. I thought it was really clever what they did with it. 6 was shit. It was like proper shit. I didn't like it, and that's saying something. And it wasn't like, oh yeah, I was in a bad mood or whatever, because that's not that often that happens, is it? I just thought there was a couple of scenes in it, which I'm obviously not going to say what they are. But there was a couple of scenes in it that was genuinely new and different. I thought, oh, that's really clever. Well done. And then you got that ending, and you think, what is this? And I think, okay, well, we know that there's going to be more. They've already said that there's going to be more anyway. But it's like, well, okay, we're dragging our ass back to the screening again, and we've got it. I'm so invested in it now; it's got to be done. Like watching after what The Last Jedi, as we always say.
The best one.
That's that nearly ruined everything for Star Wars, but yeah, you can't really do it with Scream, can you? It's already gone way too far.
Yeah.
And they brought it back in a clever way, which I thought, okay, you've done it. fine.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it as a little tribute. That ended really well, and then they brought it back again, and it was shit. So I've got no enthusiasm for the next one if it happens. But I've been proved wrong many times in the past, and hopefully it happens again.
I'm in complete agreement. Like the fifth one, sorry, so the first of the new trilogy was fine. Like I mostly enjoyed it. Didn't it have what's his name?
Jack
Not
Quaid.
Gleason. Quaid. I was going to say Jack
Quaid.
Gleason, but no, Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid's in it. I quite like Jack Quaid.
I love Jack Quaid.
Like it was fine. I didn't hate it. There was a few issues I had where they were clearly playing off the old tropes. And I don't mind that, but when you do the same joke 4 or 5 times in a row, and they did that throughout the entirety of Scream 6. Like the entirety of Scream 6 was every trope that we've taken the piss out of, we're going to do them, and you're going to fucking take it in your throat because we're going to ram it down there.
All right, chill out, Russell Brand. Christ.
I hated 6. I thought it was awful movie. And the biggest thing that pissed me off the most, the advertising campaign was all about, we're in the Big Apple now.
Yeah.
And at no point does anything in that movie resemble anything to do with New York. Other than like they're on a subway, but they could have been fucking anywhere on a train with that. And they were in Central Park, but that could have been any park anywhere. And they somehow managed to get like across the city in minutes, which is not how New York works.
No.
Like it's impossible. So I really hated everything about it. And again, I figured out pretty much everything within 20 minutes of the movie, which is always a bad sign. Whereas I didn't with Scream 5. It kept me guessing through most of it. But Scream 6, they signposted everything immediately. Even the opening sequence, which was all about things are different now. I knew what was going to happen then because you've told me it's different. Just don't say fucking anything then. And that's the best way. And that's what I try to avoid as much as I can with film. This is why I'm going the Stu route with movies now. Just avoiding everything trailers. I can with them. Because they just spoil it for themselves.
Well, no, that's it. So I haven't been asked about watching the new Exorcist because I've heard it's absolute dog shit. But I read a spoiler that was like on a thing. So I know something that I didn't know before. And I'm less inclined to go see, even though I've got my Limitless. I just can't be asked because people are just going to be spoilering it.
Yeah, I've heard very bad things about it, which have like immediately put me off. Yeah. Which is a shame because it's David Gordon Green who did Job, which we really enjoyed. Stu, the Nick Cage film in the Dirty South, like that was
one of the best films that no one's ever seen.
Yeah, I mean it's one of Nicolas Cage's favourite performances of his own work. Like it's really, really good. And he also wrote and directed a lot of The Righteous Gemstones, which is a series which I really, really enjoyed this year. But then he also did the Halloween requels, or as we're speaking about requels, I know he's doing The Exorcist, Believer, and then like there is a trilogy planned, and for the life of me, I can't remember what the next one is. It's like The Exorcist Non-Believer or some shit. But like I think this one is going to be doing so badly, I don't think that they'll be picked up for 2 and 3 by the sense of how badly it's gone down. It's currently sat on a 5.1 on IMDb, so it's very MOR. But yeah, remains to be seen on that one. In regards to Scream 3, then, so if we go right the way back to the start of the century, I remember telling my friends before we even went in the cinema, the killer will be Sidney's brother. Like I know this is a spoiler, but it's a 23-year-old film, so if you haven't seen it, fuck you, that's your problem. Yeah, I remember saying before, like we were even in there saying, I told them who the killer was going to be, and it was, and I feel like that's where Scream went wrong, is that they really just sort of phoned it in for the third when they had no intentions of doing a fourth, fifth, etc. When it was just going to be the trilogy. They really shat the bed. They did not stick the landing at all in that third film. That was a very, very dull movie. Stu, do you remember that movie?
Yeah, because I watched them all before 5.
You did,
so
of course you did. Yeah.
Even with my brain damage, that doesn't count because I've seen them before. But yeah, it was another one like we talked about earlier, trying to convince yourself that it's not bad. And it was like that. But I still say that Spider-Man 3 is actually all right if you give it a chance again. It's not
I
as
will
bad as...
watch Spider-Man 3 before I watch any of the new ones. Any day. I enjoy Spider-Man 3 because it is fucking silly.
Yeah.
It's more fun than Amazing Spider-Man and Tom Holland. Definitely.
Although, have you watched the new Spider-Man ish stuff that I told you about? On
the animated thing you showed me the
yes,
other day.
Spidey and his amazing friends on CBeebies.
No, I haven't.
Is this
It's
old? Is this old?
No, it's new.
Because Spider-Man and his amazing friends used to be on when I was a kid, and it was him, Iceman, and Firestar, and I loved it
Oh,
because
is that Hanna-Barbera? Was it that one?
Yeah. Now this is Spidey and his amazing friends. It's CG, big heads, very well, obviously aimed at like toddlers and like 5-6-year-olds, but it's actually really fun. It's a Disney XD thing, so I presume it's on Disney Plus as well. But yeah, that's actually good. Unlike Scream 3.
It was terrible. And like I said, they didn't stick the landing, did they?
No.
1's a good film. 2 is a fun film, but it's not brilliant. And 3 is just dour. Even though it had Jay and Silent Bob in, so I should have loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Tara, thoughts on the third one?
I couldn't tell you because I think I saw it when it came out, and it hasn't troubled my mind since. And I only went to see it because Jay and Silent Bob were in it. That's it.
Yeah. So the fourth film then. So we'll end it on the on Scream 4. I quite enjoyed it because it was the least Scream feeling film of the four. Of the six that we've had. I think it was the one that felt the most original. Weirdly, it was one that didn't really rely on the tropes of other movies as much. Stu, obviously you've watched it probably more recently than both myself and Tara. What are your thoughts on the fourth one?
It was more like, you know, how was it? Alien 3 was the one in the prison.
Yeah.
Where it's completely different to the first. Like, well, I know the second one's different to the first anyway. It could be called something else, and you could change the characters, and you'd never know it was originally a Scream film.
Oh, that's like Halloween 3. Halloween 3 is completely different because there's no Michael Myers in it.
Is that the Silver Shamrock one?
Yeah, it's my favourite. It's the best one.
I mean, it doesn't feel like a Scream film, which is probably why it worked.
No. I'm just looking at the cast now, and there are people I did not remember were actually in it. Anna Paquin, Kristen Bell, Alison Brie, Emma Roberts. I mean, that's a really good cast. I might have to watch Scream 4 again, you know. Fuck the rest. I just want to watch that one again. Tara, thoughts on the fourth one? Did you ever get round to it?
No, I was so put off by the first one. That is, like I say, I've only recently started I've rewatched the first two, and then I haven't bothered. And then I went to see 5 and 6. So I should probably, to be a completist, I should probably go and watch them.
Yes.
I suppose the fourth one, Hayden Panettiere, is the link between the fourth and the sixth one.
Right.
She appears in that and then comes back.
Yeah.
But you don't really need to know anything about that stuff. It's mostly explained within the movie because it's a badly written movie and they tell you everything. Any other requels or never-ending franchises that spring to mind throughout the 21st century? Anything they just won't let fucking die?
Saw.
I mean, the one that immediately springs to... Yeah, Saw. The one that sprang to my mind is The Walking Dead. If you go onto TV, it felt like that went on far too long.
Yeah.
And,
have you watched the new one? Have you watched the Daryl stuff yet?
No, because isn't it just basically The Last of Us?
He's in France, for some reason.
Yeah.
Which is fucking zombified anyway. So, what's the difference? But I saw something on, it might have been Collider or something else like that, where they talked about souped up zombies. And I thought, oh no. Oh dear. Are they going to be different? Like when the first time we saw them, when they were wearing the masks and they started the Whisperers, I thought, what, they've evolved, or when they could climb? And I thought, is it just going to be something like this again? But I haven't got around to it either. even though I did like the spin-off with the Negan one, Dead City, I thought that was all right.
Yeah.
And it got. That's the thing with again with The Walking Dead. It was awful, and that's why Matt was, when he got over being scared, he managed to, he just gave up half at the right time, which a lot of people did.
We did.
Yeah.
We gave up because it was just dragging on, and I didn't actually care
Because
anymore.
it was like that for years. a lot of people's like, okay, well that's enough, like you. But we, the ones who stuck at it, it actually did get better, didn't it? Towards the end, it got back to how it started. And you think, well, if you can get that arc, but then you had the Tales of The Walking Dead, which is awful. The
Except
Negan
for the one with
was,
Terry Crews.
yeah. But that was funny because it was Terry Crews.
Yeah.
The Negan one was all right, but this one sounds mental again. So it's like, well, you've got an IP, drain it for as much as you've possibly got to get, because no one's got any new ideas anymore.
Mm.
And
it's a shame because I loved the series, the books, like all 183, 4, however many they were, and then I thought it was a brilliant series, and they sort of followed it throughout the TV series, but it got so boring, and I thought, this just isn't, like, I've read these stories and I don't recognise them. Like, that's how bad it was at parts. But like you said, Tara, you gave up on it, Matt gave up on it. I think season 8 where it ends with Negan getting his throat slit. He doesn't die, but that's how the fight goes. I remember saying to you, Stu, after that, I'll give the first episode of the next season a watch, and if it's shit, I'm dropping it. And it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And it stayed brilliant for the last 2 seasons. And I'm really glad I stuck with it in the end, because it was so good. But you did have 4 or 5 years in the middle, which was just turgid shite.
Yeah, dog shit.
But I've heard that apparently the Daryl Dixon show is him with a young boy who might have the cure in his blood, and he's helping them like get to not the CDC, but effectively what they did in The Last of Us.
Yeah.
It's not based on The Last of Us. The guy who wrote it never never played the game or saw the TV series. And then the TV series hit, and he was like, shit, we've just made the same show.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they managed to change it up in the end or what, but yeah, that was apparently what I'd heard it was going to be.
I mean, that's your prime answer for this, that you don't want it to go that way. Because The Last of Us,
No.
I know you can't play it because of your eyes, but
yeah,
the second, although the field of view things fixed in the remake of the first one, because there's all the accessibility sliders like in God of War, so you might be okay.
Oh, okay, I'll give that a try then.
And apparently they're remaking the second one, even though it's like not even 6 years old or whatever, or tarting it up a little bit. We know they're going to do a third game. We know they're going to do a second and third season of the show, but leave it there.
Yeah.
That's it. Leave it alone. We don't need any more than that. It's perfect.
Yeah. Oh, we saw the first images this week of the next Walking Dead spin-off, Those Who Survive, the Rick and Michonne one, I think it's called. Like, I want to see it because I want to see the culmination of Rick's story, because we've gone this far. I don't really care about Daryl, if I'm being blunt, and I don't really give a shit about Carol, and she's supposed to be in the next season of it as well. But I don't think I'm going to bother with the Daryl Dixon one. But I'll probably watch Rick's. If they give us 6 episodes and that's his story, then I'll be pleased.
Yeah.
If we're talking about this in 2 years' time, I'm going to be furious. Like, I don't want to just drag it out. Just give me a short story.
Considering it was supposed to be 3 films anyway in the first place.
Yeah, that's very true.
Be perfectly acceptable to have 6-hour episodes. Nice and tidy, done.
Yeah, that's it. Right, lovely. Okay, so that is the 21st century horror within 10 films. Next week, we will be looking at a horror movie of sorts. We will be watching Nicolas Cage in Renfield from 2023. It was available on Netflix as of a couple of weeks ago, but check on justwatch.com to see where it's streaming near you. So yeah, please join us next week and we'll go through that. Please make sure that you're subscribed on whatever podcatcher that you're listening to us on now, and make sure you've also got the Killing as well. And is it at the Bluest Star? I always forget what your Twitter name is.
Yeah. I'm also on Blue Sky as well. So if you all want any Blue Sky invites, I've got them.
Which one's Blue Sky? I get so confused.
There's Mastodon and there's Blue Sky. Blue Sky is what Twitter used to be.
Okay, right. Yeah. I always get confused with these things. I'm not really that up to date when it comes to social media. I mean, like, I never even bothered with Facebook, to be perfectly honest. I think I did MySpace, and then I was eventually hounded onto Twitter.
Too cool for school.
Well, that's it. This is the thing. I remember, like, way back when. I mean, this is going to be a tangent now. When Friends Reunited was the thing.
Yeah.
And obviously people would go on there and put bullshit on. And I just went in there and abused everybody because I don't like people. So that was my introduction into social media, and it's never really got any better, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Fair enough.
So yes, make sure you're following Tara on those places, and make sure you're following us as well at Cage Fighting Pod. If you've got any emails, cagefightingpod@gmail.com. Please make sure you subscribe on your podcatcher. I don't know if I've already said that. I'm just rambling at this point. So, Tara, thank you very much for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you for asking me. It's been fun.
Anytime. We'll get you back again at some point. So for this week, Tara, would you like to say goodbye?
Okay, thanks for listening, guys. Love you. Bye.
For this week, Stu, would you like to say goodbye?
You know what? She's not actually as posh as she sounds. This is a misnomer.
Shut the fuck up.
See, there we are. Straight into the trap. Goodbye. Oh.
And it's goodbye from me, and remember, be excellent to each other.